Hey Ivan, what are your thoughts on pornography, lust, loyalty for men in today's time, particularly in the West? Murke. Oh, dude, it's massive. Pornography is so readily available. I'm not going to sit here to say that I've never watched pornography. Absolutely, it was part of growing up as a kid. It's a heavy topic, right? Because if the pornography becomes, it starts to change behavior of young men, how they view the world and how they view women, that is a terrible, terrible thing. If the expectation is your girlfriend, your wife, your partner, that they need to be like the people on the screen they see, that is a problem. That is not love. That is an art. That is not how normal relationships go. So in an immature person's hand, it can be very destructive. Can we stop pornography? Absolutely not. You can't stop it without ending up as some sort of a police state with no freedom of population and whatnot. But I think education is probably the answer to a lot of this stuff. Obviously not at the primary school level where kids are like too young and you're teaching them about gender and all this stuff. There's probably a right time to do this. I'm not sure exactly when that is. But education is probably the way to go about all of this. And I think a lot of this stuff should come from basically inside your home. Fathers should be teaching their sons what the world is, and daughters should be listening to their mothers. It shouldn't be relied upon by the state or the school for a lot of this stuff. But obviously, as the family model has deteriorated over the last couple of decades, there needs to be a need to rely on the state to teach some of these fundamental things. But yeah, it's out of hand at the moment, obviously. OnlyFans is just ruining the world, ruining, I feel like mostly, girls, because men drive the majority of the audience. Men are mostly the consumers, I imagine. I mean, I don't have any stats in front of me to think about it, but I can only imagine, they make up the majority of the customers. So I don't know. It's a big problem, but like I said to you before, I think the problem is arising from a different thing. I think that's not the cause for pornography and OnlyFans and prostitution, all the rest of it. I think the world as a whole has lost a lot since religion has started to decrease on all fronts. God has left the conversation in a lot of people's lives, and because of that, people are lost and people are running around like headless chooks. I'm not here to say that religion was perfect. Religion has a lot of blood on their hands as well, a lot of blood. I mean, I come from Yugoslavia, a hot pot, multiple ethnicities, religions, but people got along for a long, long period of time, and then eventually the politicians got involved and external interests got involved and everything fell apart. But religion was kind of one of the things that they used to their advantage to cause unrest. And so religion it's great, but people, especially people in power with ill goals in their mind, they tend to mobilize and militarize religion. And that has happened many, many times in history. And so that's why I say religion is not, the perfect way. And that's why I always say, I'm not a big fan of religion, but I'm a big fan of God. I believe in God. I'm very spiritual. But I don't like a lot of these institutions. They use God as a selling point, but really there is monetary, political power that's underpinning a lot of this stuff. So yeah, I'm conflicted by that, and I've wrestled with some of these thoughts for a very long time. But really, as we've seen God's popularity in the general populace decrease, a lot of these degenerative behaviors have popped up and now are front and center. And that's the sad thing, They once used to be like this thought, okay, my parents can't see me right now, doing this ill behavior. But in the past, you used to say, well, God can see me, so I shouldn't do this. Even though nobody's around me and I'm about to do this evil thing, or this wrong thing, God is always seeing me and judging me. But now we don't have that in our lives, and so we just do crazy stuff. And the West especially is really decaying from within. And it's going to be the fall of the West, I think, when the populace is so degenerative and so lustful and just completely consumed by pleasure and comfort. These are not very good signs. But a lot of this obviously is driven by capitalism and the way the structures are set up. I don't know. Like, I don't have answers to all of this stuff, but like, you know, as somebody like probably you're sitting there, you're viewing some of these things and you're like, things are not going in the right direction. What the solution is, I'm not sure. Maybe more discussions like we're having now.